and welcome to the Boating Hour with Captain Rick. The Boating Hour brings you the latest and greatest essential information about everything that sails, floats, or motors upon the high seas of Southern California. From landlubbers to old salts, there'll be something for everyone. So climb aboard and get ready to sail with Captain Rick.
Ahoy out there, and welcome to the Boating Hour. I'm Captain Rick, and I want to thank you for joining us here on AM 870. We're here every Saturday at 4 p.m., and please be sure to visit us on the web at theboatinghour.com, theboatinghour.com, and now on social media, on Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, and Rumble, The Boating Hour with Captain Rick. Thanks to our sponsors for our show today. For a healthy gut, the best probiotic on the market, Livia One Probiotics, natural, organic, and allergen-free, and Raycom radios, reliable two-way commercial radios throughout Southern California without drop and dead zones and all the inherent limitations of radio communications. Email me at Captain Rick and contact Mobile Relay Associates at Raycom Radios. Well, last week we talked to Love Catalina. So we had Jim on the show, and as I promised, we're talking about Catalina this week as well. So I've got Leslie from Two Harbors, from the Harbor Department. Leslie, I forgot how to introduce you, so you tell us what you do at Two Harbors and what your title is.
Yeah, good morning. Hey, I am the Harbor Office Manager at Two Harbors. I oversee all the subleases on all of our moorings and assist all of our lessees with their reservations and anything they might need. That's exciting. Tell us about Two Harbors, because we talked all about Avalon. I've talked about Farnswood Bank, and I've talked about a couple of the, in the past, there's the Corsair Yacht Club, and of course Emerald Bay. What is Two Harbors for my audience who are not Catalina aficionados? Although I am going to try to get everybody over to Catalina, either by plane or boat or sailing or the ferry. But tell us about Two Harbors. Yeah, so Two Harbors is located on the very west end of the island. We're a very small boating, outdoor camping community. We have one restaurant, one general store, one bar, and lots of moorings for boaters to tie up to. Wow, that's exciting. So do you have a yacht club there too in Two Harbors? We do. It's called the Isthmus Yacht Club. It is a private yacht club, and they do have a shoreside clubhouse facility here at Two Harbors. And then there's other various yacht clubs that have shoreside facilities up and down the west end coastline as well. I have been all over Catalina. I didn't understand how it's structured, because you have different coves and different areas and different organizations that manage it. It's a big island, so I'm just learning that now. I didn't understand how you got supplies, and apparently over 1 million people that are coming there. How popular is now? So do you manage the Isthmus? Is that part of the Two Harbors? Yes, so for the moorings aspect, we oversee everything west of Avalon. So Moonstone all the way around the backside of the island to Cat Harbor, and then everything at Two Harbors, of course. Cat Harbor, when you go to the Isthmus, you can walk over to Cat Harbor in a very short period of time. So I thought I would sail and meet my friends that were in Cat Harbor one time, and it took me longer to go around the island, to sail around the island, than it did to get to the island. Of course, I was in trouble with the current and the wind, But Cat Harbor, how do you manage both sides? Farnsworth Bank is over there too, right? Yeah, absolutely. So we do have harbor patrolmen assigned and stationed in Cat Harbor. So Two Harbors is the most narrow part of the island. It's only about a mile between Isthmus Harbor and Cat Harbor. So operations are located at the Isthmus, and we have patrolmen that work out of Cat Harbor to oversee boats there. But it's a little bit of a trek if you're coming from, let's say, San Diego, Newport area. You have to go around the entire island to access Cat Harbor. Yeah, it's quite a trip. Tell me, I want to know the secret. Is there really buffalo milk at the Isthmus at the bar over there? There is indeed, and we are home of the buffalo milk. Rumor has it that back in the 50s, 60s, there was a bartender that was just messing around with some recipes, and that one stuck.
Oh, no kidding. Okay. How did Buffalo get over there? Was it the movies? Didn't you guys film movies at one time over there? I don't know that history.
Yeah. Absolutely. To my knowledge, the bison were brought onto the island for a film called The Vanishing American. The rumor has it that the film ran out of money, and none of the scenes with the bison in it actually made the film, and they didn't have the budget to remove them from the island. So they ended up staying, and now they're a tourist attraction.
Wow. So I could go over. So there really is buffalo milk. I didn't know that story. That's interesting.
Yeah.
What?
The cocktail doesn't include the actual buffalo milk, but it is quite tasty.
Okay. That's one thing that really caught my attention for a long, long time. I remember one of the first things when I went to the Isthmus many, many years ago. You got a Civil War outpost. So you've had people stationed there to explain that, the museum and the outpost on Catalina.
Yeah, so to my knowledge, the Civil War barracks here at Two Harbors, which is now the Isthmus Yacht Club facility, it was built in 1864. They never really saw any action here, but they did have a small amount of guys stationed here, and there was a rumor that they were supposedly running guns or gold through the island, but I don't know if any of that's true or not.
So that's actually the Isthmus Yacht Club is the old outpost?
Absolutely, yep. It's still standing. It's the oldest building on the island to my knowledge.
You know, if I was in the Civil War at that time, that would be the post that I would want.
Right?
Can you imagine to be assigned to that post and then going back home and finding out, well, maybe people didn't go back home. They stayed on the island. Maybe I would have done that, but finding out just how horrific the Civil War was, and there they were on the island. So it's just such a fascinating island. Do you have any idea how many numbers of sailors and fishermen and boaters are coming over this summer season?
Oh my gosh, countless. We see an average on daily basis. We welcome about 100 boats on average during the peak summer season, and that's per day. So, you average about 3 to 4 crew per boat. So we're looking at about 300 to 400 people arriving and coming and going daily.
Wow. God, that's so exciting. It's a lot of people. I've been over to the Isthmus several times, and I've anchored. Do you still allow people to anchor just outside the moorings?
Absolutely. We have beautiful open anchorage all around the island. The only rule with the anchorage, you can't exceed more than 12 days at any one given location, and you have to be 100 yards outside of our mooring fields. But otherwise, it's open anchorage.
Wow, I've done that a few times when I came at the popular. A lot of the clubs go over there, and it's an exciting place to sail over. And I've done a couple races over there, and I'm trying to go do something for the scouts and get the sailors and the racers and the dads and moms and families and the kids. I'm going to try to do an around the island race. So we're working on that right now. Maybe that's a little bit too much because around the island, that's. What would that take? You ever gone around the island in a sailboat?
Not in a sailboat. I have done it a couple times in a powerboat. So it's going to take a good chunk of the day if you go in a sailboat.
Of course. Well, just getting over from Isthmus to Cat Harbor there, and there's a couple of I think some of the clubs. So maybe sailing around might be a little too much for me, Leslie. What did it take you? Do you remember how long it took you to go around? Did you do it in one swoop, or did you stop and visit people? How long did it take you to go around the island?
No, in a powerboat you can do it in probably, a couple hours, 3 hours. But yeah, sailing, it would probably take about, maybe 10, 12 hours.
Do you get water skiers there in the island ever? That's something I've never asked. You have people that go out, or is the water too rough most of the time?
No, out in right in front of the Isthmus is beautiful for water skiing. We'll see people out there water skiing, wakeboarding, inner tubing, especially early in the morning before there's any kind of wind chop or any much boat wake. But it's a great spot to water ski.
One of the first early times that I went on a new boat all by myself, many, many years ago, it's a great story. I was in the Isthmus, and I was coming ashore in my dinghy, which I didn't check. And as I started to come ashore, I was losing air because I dragged that thing going to the beach, and it lost air, and finally it was sinking, and the front part was coming up, and the back part was coming up, and I wasn't going to make it to the island, and there was some kids laughing at me on this beautiful catamaran. And these young kids laughing at me. And I remember Wendy, and she's amazing, amazing lady if you want to learn how to sail. And she's past Commodore of Santa Monica Windjammers Yacht Club. And I remember her telling me, "What are you laughing at him? Tell him to come ashore. You can't let him sink." And there I was. And then they had the boats that picked me up. Of course, I had to get rid of the dinghy and throw it away. And do you still have the guys that come around in the boats that take you ashore, at the harbors?
Yeah, absolutely. So Isthmus, 4th of July, and Cherry Cove, we have regular shoreboat services. On weekends, we have 24-hour service, and it's $7 to $8 from your boat to the dock.
Oh, wow. It used to be $2.
Yeah, it's gone up a little bit.
Yeah, used to be $2. I want a season pass because I'm going to definitely start going over to Catalina. Well, the whole world is doubled and tripled. Especially how did you guys survive during the lockdowns? I mean, we had 2.5 years almost where the whole world was locked down. Did you have boaters that were able to come over? Did you allow them in?
You know what? It was a really interesting time for us. The entire island is part of LA County, so we had to follow whatever restrictions and closures that they had implemented. We did allow vessels to come utilize our moorings, but there was a small period of time where we weren't allowing anyone ashore. And then when we did open, we were still following LA County protocol, social distancing, masks, and so on. So it was a little challenging for a little while there. But then once the restrictions lifted, I felt like it was, some of the best seasons we had. People were ready to get out, and
Sure.
No better place than do it.
Yeah, well, that was one of the interesting things. I've talked to a lot of boat brokers. I've mentioned this on my show before, and of course I go to the Bart Hall shows. I used to go to the shows since they were the Fred Hall shows. But as things opened up, camping and boating was off the hook because that's something people could do and get out. There was no inventory, so he had trouble this last year. As he opened up his shows again, getting the booths and the vendors staffed, and because there was no inventory to bring to the shows. I think that's finally changing a little bit. People were buying boats and campers like there's no tomorrow. Every boat broker I talked to said they had no inventory whatsoever. So I've talked to a few of them on the show, but now people are trading. So it kind of vitalized the boating industry. A lot of kids came to yacht clubs and started learning how to race and meeting people, and of course a lot of the row programs. Do they still have that one? There used to be a paddle board where people would paddle from. I think it was one of the yacht clubs, Long Beach to Catalina, or I think it went to the Isthmus. I'm not sure. You familiar with that? The paddle board from the mainland to the island.
Yeah, there's 2 paddleboard races that depart from the Isthmus to the mainland. In July, we just had the Rock to Rock, which goes from the Isthmus to Cabrillo. And then coming up in August, we have the Catalina Classic, which goes from the Isthmus to Manhattan Beach. And those are made up of prone paddleboarders and stand-up paddleboarders. Oh,
wow. And, I told Jim last week, because he was on my show from lovecatalina.com. What is your website? So we had lovecatalina.com was my show last week with Jim. What's your website if people want to find out on all the activities and stuff going on
Yeah, everything for Two Harbors, our moorings, all of our activities, operations, the website is visitcataliнаisland.com.
Wow. Okay. So that's say the website again.
visitcataliнаisland.com.
Wow. Okay. Well, I realize that there's so much activity going on in Catalina that I could retire and have more activity 24/7 than I've ever had before. There's all I know I've gone on the cruise ship once. I was the only one that didn't get off in Avalon because I'd been there before. I had the whole ship to myself. But you got so much activities all throughout the year. Tell us about you. How did you get this job, and how did you get to Catalina?
Yeah, so I'm kind of a unique story. I was born and raised here in Two Harbors, so grew up loving it and just realized it was kind of the place I wanted to be. I worked in our sales and catering department here at Two Harbors for about 12 years, and when COVID hit, that operation really slowed down. But then the harbor position became available, so I made the transition over to the harbor and have been super happy doing that ever since. But yeah, it's just a great lifestyle, very unique, lots of outdoors activities, and, a little detached from the real world.
Wow. So you're there, you come to the mainland, are you there all the time now?
Yeah, full-time in Two Harbors. I do break away and get, go spoil myself on the mainland when I can, but yeah, permanently here in Two Harbors.
Wow. I think I'd like to do that.
Come on over.
How can I do that? I want to find a little plot of land where I can just wake up every morning and look at the beautiful. It's got to be one of the most visited spots for tourists. I just can't. Catalina. Everybody I know when they come to LA want to go to Catalina. I have a guest here that was Redondo Beach, a man that retired in northern Nevada, and he said, "I'm coming over in August. I'm going to spend the month with you. We're going to go to Catalina a couple times. So you might see us there. I don't know. Is this the real busy season right now, August?"
It is, yeah. We're in our peak summer season. It'll slow down. A lot of local schools start going back here in the first couple weeks of August. So weekends will stay steady through October, but then midweek really slows down once schools go back. So September is one of the best months of the entire year. If you want to come out and visit, the place is usually wide open, the best weather, and the warmest water.
Oh, wow. Best weather in the world and nice. You know what? I think I might do that. You might see me the last... maybe mid-August because my friend is here, and everybody I know, absolutely loves Catalina, and I really enjoy that. Do you snorkel at all? Are you a scuba diver?
Yeah, I snorkel and dive. Some of the waters just right off the isthmus. There's beautiful reefs, gorgeous snorkeling, diving. Lobster season starts in October, so that's a big draw for us. But yeah, you can just swim right off the beach if you want.
Golly. And do you have dive shops there? If I come out with no equipment and I don't know what I'm doing, can I come out there and go to one of the dive shops and get all outfitted with a guide?
Absolutely. So here in Two Harbors, we have the Dive and Recreation Center. They have rentals for scuba diving, snorkeling, kayaks, stand-up paddle boards. They even have little skiffs that you can rent, and if you wanted to explore some of the coves or go out into deeper water for dives, they have all of that available right here in the isthmus.
Wow. Do you get to know families after they've been there that keep coming? Do you have a lot of regulars that you see all the time?
A lot of regulars and a lot of people that have been coming for generations, grew up coming with their grandparents and then their parents, and now they're bringing their kids and their grandkids. So it's really fun to see. There's definitely a big boating community here that's been coming for quite some time.
Golly, well, I'm one of them, but I have not been a regular every season. I go over periodically and I hear stories, but I really want to start covering Catalina a lot more because there's so much that goes on, in the races and stuff. So wow, that's such an interesting story. I have fantastic guests, and now I had a lot of people that said, "How come you're not covering Catalina?" So now I'm going to make that a point. I think I talked to one of you earlier when I started the show. I talked to one of the earlier retiring Poindexter, who was the harbor master. Was he a harbor master over on your side or in Avalon?
He was in Avalon.
Right. Okay. Yeah, I talked to him early on. And then I've kind of ignored Catalina. And boy, I do get emails and people are asking me how to go and who to contact and when I once went to the Forbidden Island by accident. I went over to Cat Harbor and I saw a big barge dredging water. I guess that's the Catalina Water Company supplying all the aquariums with fresh water. Do you know about those guys over there? Have you ever seen that dredge? I guess it's a barge.
No, I've never seen that. We do have a freight service barge that delivers all of our produce and supplies once a week, but I have never seen a dredging barge.
Yeah, maybe it was interesting because I found out about it, and you got the cleanest water on the backside. They take the water, pump it out, and that's where the aquariums get their clean, fresh salt water. And then, of course, it distracted me, and I was trying to get back around the island to go home, and I ended up at the Forbidden Island, and I was boarded. The Navy was doing some exercises, and I didn't know about it. I think they could have seized the boat and arrested me, but they gave me a little break. That was one of my experience. I've snorkeled. I'm not a diver, and I think I want to do that. I'd like to get the dive shop on the show and plug and promote that dive shop, because if you can go over there, not an experienced diver, and get everything that you need from the skiff to a tour guide, that would be fantastic, because from what I understand, it's one of the top dive locations. People come to California just to go there. So it's got to, and you got some preserves, and I found out you got a whole bunch of them, not just Farnsworth Bank. So that's kind of exciting with the dive shop. How big's your crew? What does it take you to manage Two Harbors?
So Two Harbors year-round, we have about 100 people year-round that are permanent residents that work and support the various operations. Then during the summer months, we onboard about 150, 200 additional seasonal staff members for restaurant, harbor. We have a bed and breakfast here, campground, so all seasonal staff that help support those operations.
Oh, what's the bed and breakfast over there? So I could sail over there, have guests, and then put them up in the bed and breakfast?
Yeah, definitely. So we have a 12-room bed and breakfast. It's called the Banning House Lodge. It was built in 1910 by the Banning family.
Oh, the original owners, right? Or one of the early owners?
Prior to the Wrigleys, the Bannings owned the island, and they used it as a summer home. And ever since, it's been converted from various things, such as a Girl Scout camp. It was utilized as a hunting lodge, and now most recently, it's a bed and breakfast.
Oh, God, that is amazing. Well, I want to thank you for being on the show. This is I didn't realize that Catalina's divided up. That you have different harbor masters. You have 1+ million and a half, maybe 2 million people coming over there. I didn't realize all these things about. I just took it for granted, like a lot of people. You go over when you want. So anyway, I want to thank you for coming on the show.
Of course. Thank you for having me, and we would love to welcome you to Two Harbors, hopefully soon.
I think you're going to see me in the next month or so. So really, it's been fantastic, and I barely scratched the surface. I mean, and I got a little distracted on this show, with what's going on here in the studio. But this has been wonderful, and I hope people listen to this and make some trips over there. And September is the time to go. So it's the great weather, and you might see me in both the end of August and September.
That sounds perfect.
Well, that's fantastic. Well, that's all the time that we have for you today. I hope you enjoyed our show. As always, we're so very fortunate to have such wonderful and exciting guests. I want to thank you for coming on the show, Leslie. This has been fantastic. And let's not forget the Coasties, protecting our waters, America's lifesavers and guardians of the sea. Here at the Boating Hour, we cover everything that sails, motors, and floats from San Diego to Santa Barbara. And Catalina is going to be a topic from now on. Maybe every show I'll talk about something going on in Catalina. So this has been great. Thanks to our sponsors for the show today. For a healthy gut, Livia One Probiotics and Raycom Radios, reliable two-way radios throughout Southern California. Raycom Radios, Mobile Relay Associates. Their website is mra-raycom.com. Don't forget to visit us on the web at theboatinghour.com, theboatinghour.com, now on Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, and Rumble. The Boating Hour with Captain Rick. And we've had some great guests this summer. I hope everybody's enjoying the end of the summer, school starting, but we've got wonderful guests coming up. And of course, we'll be talking about Catalina a lot more now that I had Leslie on the show. And last week we had Jim from Love Catalina. What's your website again, real quick, Leslie?
Visit CatalinaIsland.com.
Well, Leslie, this has been fantastic. Thanks for coming on the show. I did.
You got it. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, keep your emails coming. Don't forget to visit us on the web at theboatinghour.com, now on Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, and Rumble. The Boating Hour with Captain Rick. We've got a lot of exciting guests coming up for you all summer long, so make sure you tune in to theboatinghour.com on AM 870 every Saturday, and check out our website. This is Captain Rick saying ahoy and fair winds to all.